Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gontos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rad Gontos.
One more time around the sun, dear friends, right?
I'm wiping the tears away here. This is a sad, but it's like a wake. We're having an Irish wake here.
No, we're not. Fuck that shit. And no disrespect to the Irish or the fact that they have great wakes, but no, fuck that crap. Sorry. My last show, I'm not filtering myself. No, we're not. We had a really good run for 6 years.
Fantastic.
We had all kinds of people on the show.
Amazing.
It didn't really fit any particular, neat little box.
No, it never did.
Really, people were always like wondering, well, what's next? Who do they cover? What's going to happen? I will tell you, I want to start by just saying one thing. I am actually super honored. And I feel very humbled that not one person that we asked if they would like to be on the show said no in the course of 6 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. I never thought about that, but that is amazing.
Not one person said that. And so, again, this show is not and would have not ever been possible if it wasn't for starting with you giving us the opportunity to do it, giving me the opportunity to do it, and all the guests and people that basically have been so instrumental, both in terms of audience and listenership and support. And I see one of them just jumped on there.
Yeah,
my friend
today
John,
it's a free-for-all.
Dave.
Everybody can join the Facebook and have their reminiscence. Say goodbye to the Rod Show.
No. Let me preface this, right? This is not saying goodbye. This is just like everything else that happened in the course of this last year. Now, we've been doing this for 6 years, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, Antoinette just jumped on too. Hey,
another one, yeah.
There's my sister from another mother right there. We've had a great run. We've had a lot of people on, and it's been awesome.
Can I note one thing though?
This is not an end poll. What it is, it's an evolution. It's
okay.
What's next, right?
Yeah.
Because last year, everybody basically discovered Zoom. Everybody discovered, getting on camera. It became very easy to do that, right? So in the spirit of what we started 6 years ago, which is basically let's explore new territory here. Let's see where the next boundaries are. That's what's next. What's next is who else has a voice that should be amplified? Who else really could benefit from what we have learned over the last 6 years so that they can get there faster than we did, right? And that's what's next. What's next is through Golden Seal Productions, we'll be looking at producing other people's shows.
Right.
I don't think the Raad Life is going to be, hey, there's Jose Marino. We're going to have a little discussion about who's been on the show the most now. But,
yeah.
and I see the pyramid there at Long Beach. But hey, there's Dr. Moreno. Hey, Jose, how are you?
How you doing, Rod? Hey, Paul.
Good, buddy.
Hey.
I knew you'd be on here. You were not going to miss another opportunity to be on the show.
I just want to make sure that the record is clear on the record.
That's
that
right.
You are the one with the most appearances on the Raad Life. Yes, sir.
John Dade was challenging in there for a while there. John Dade had a number of appearances.
John Dade he got close. John Dade was close. So
Antoinette Balta jumped and was on some other shows on OC Talk Radio, but I don't know that she.
Antoinette's everywhere.
I only had one invitation from Rod. So I don't know if
that was the only invitation I could get you to accept because you're so busy.
She is. Hey, we had her on another show. She was on. I think she was on Teresa McQueen's show on Workplace Perspective. She was on, and
there you go.
She's on.
But this is actually a really good. Sorry, Antoinette, just for a second. This is really actually a good sampling here because what we were just talking about, like 6 years ago, we realized that Orange County did not have really a news outlet, did not have anything that was covering local exposure. We don't have a newspaper really that covers it very well. We don't have a channel. We don't have a radio station.
Right.
And we started basically trying to give a platform for people that were out there doing the work that needs to be done. Antoinette, Jose,
But
John,
you know what I found fascinating? Then we'll go through every one of your guests here and other people as they join. Here's what I found fascinating about Rod's show. Rod's show didn't fit any niche or easily packaged thing. We have shows on, workplace issues. We have shows on HR. We have all these business shows that we cover. And they all have a niche, a very narrow niche, most of them. And that's good. That's what we've tried to foster and do, to create a little online campfire where like-minded people can gather to talk about some of those things. Rod comes along on one of our shows and says, hey, I'm doing this aging in place and other things. He was total mismatch for the guest that I don't know what show it was even anymore, but they didn't know what he was there for, and he wasn't sure what he was there for. It was like but I said, maybe it's because I'm getting older and I was going through the loss of parents and all this other stuff, and I thought we should do a show on aging. And that's what it started with. And then he starts bouncing all over the place. I know Antoinette, I know Jose, I know John, and I'm like, how do you know all these people? And he's like, it's the Raad Life. You live the life that we all want to live. You have the most interesting people, the most amazing conversations, and I don't know why or how you know all these people, but you do.
You know what? One of the really the best and most touching compliment I've heard in the last six years regarding the show is when people would tell me, you genuinely have an interest in people. You have a genuine interest in people.
It shows, yeah.
And it's, I don't know how else to be. This is sort of the gear that I am, right? Call it my upbringing, call it my exposure, whatever it is. But I actually was afforded over 6 years an opportunity to actually sit down once a week and visit with people. Actually connect with people.
With
something
no
that
agenda.
We really don't do very much in society unless there's some sort of agenda or to-do list,
right.
or, and it's sad because if you look at some of the problems and issues that we have, the talking across and at one another, the divisiveness, the tribalism that we have, a lot of it stems from this lack of this practice that we somehow have lost along the way.
Talking
Sadly.
is a waste of time. Give me the bullet points. Let's get it over with in 30 seconds and on to the next meeting. What do you think, John? You're a collaborator. You bring people together for these cigar nights and stuff. You're one of the few that seems to know a lot of people in town here, too. What do you think about this idea? Should we just be having town hall conversations with people, or does it always have to be focused and a specific niche? Oh, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
You're
John.
muted. You're muted there.
Oh no, you're on. You just got it. You just came on.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, John? You're a collaborator. You bring people together.
Well, I think there's room for both, and it has to be set up front what the meeting's going to be about and be specific. Town hall meetings are great. I mean, we've all been forced into this box with Zoom, with COVID and whatever for the last year, but fortunately before that, collaboration, building relationships, it was part of what I did for 10 or 11 years with the networking group that I had, and that was very it was business oriented and network oriented, but there was no agenda. There was no focus on getting something done. It was about getting there, enjoying the moment, enjoying the event, and building relationships, and then maybe do something down the road with a more,
because you've got a relationship. We used to say that in politics, Jose, we used to spend time in Washington. They hung out in Washington together or at the state capitol and got to build a relationship. Even if we were diametrically opposed, we understood. We went to each other's birthday parties. We understood, went out to dinner with each other, and we built a relationship that we could use to sometimes bridge this ideological divide. We don't seem to do that much anymore.
Well, in politics, unfortunately, those relationships are now mediated by lobbyists. So it forces conversations in ways that are not authentic, and so it's tough. It's tough. And what I found, at least in city council, but also in town halls, as John's saying, I found on city council meetings that I'm often not debating with the other council members. I'm debating with the interests that they're worried about when they leave the meeting, because they already committed to certain votes, they committed to certain types of developments and or policies or ordinances, and they can't get themselves out of that box. It's tough. It's tough.
I heard an interesting analogy, Jose, regarding that. I was at a town hall meeting recently, and one of the people there was in politics, and
he was told by a friend of his that, was supposed to vote for his bill, that he didn't vote for it. And he said, well, why didn't he vote for the bill? He says, unfortunately, I like the bill, but I had 5 other people backing the 2 bills that I had that wouldn't vote for him if I voted for your bill.
Right.
Crazy.
Horse
Right.
trade.
No, I think just like integrity has just gone out the window, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's all special interest. It's all that, which, I mean, to a certain extent, we all have a certain degree of jadedness, I think, on the screen, that we understand that that's how sometimes how the thing is gamed. But it's unfortunate because there's a price we pay as a community, there's a price we pay as a society that has long-term ramifications that we are probably not even aware of completely all the time. I want to ask you guys, because you guys have been on the show, you guys are all in your own ways very involved. How was the experience? I mean, did you guys first of
there
all
you
enjoy
go.
yourself being on the show?
Tell us the truth. Did you like coming on?
Yeah,
Well,
honestly, just don't spare any feelings. I really want to know.
Antoinette, let's start with Antoinette because she was only on once.
I'm a big fan of Rod and Paul, and I like the way the show is produced. I like the open format nature, and that there is no specific audience per se. There is no agenda. You can really speak openly.
Yeah.
And having that, format and that opportunity to kind of spread the good news and put our work out into the world.
We had a guest on years ago. I won't call them out and admit them. Or shame them or something, but they came on and they said that was so much fun, but that was a waste. They didn't say waste, but it was like, what did I accomplish? It was fun. It was cool. We hung out. I got to meet people I wouldn't have otherwise. We had this fascinating conversation, and they were like, and I'm like, so why do we think having fascinating conversations with fascinating people is a waste?
Well, I mean, Jim just jumped on here too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, good to see you, buddy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And Kara's on here, man. This is really great. This is a great.
Thank you all for coming. We were
mastermind
afraid
on,
we'd
yeah.
throw a party and nobody would show here today. Yeah.
But I mean, you guys are all you all know the benefit of that storytelling, so to speak, right? We all do it. We all do storytelling. We all script the narrative. We all are sort of focused on making sure that the messaging, the underlying reasons for the messaging doesn't get lost in the language, that everything is presented in the right way. And you are all in your own individual fields doing this. So I think, it's sad that we don't have multiple outlets of this nature. So I want to save this for a little later because I would love some input from you guys. What should we do next? Right? Because we've done this for 6 years. I've told Paul's like, why are you stopping it? I'm like, well, we're kind of leaving it on top, so to speak. But we've interviewed all kind of people from all walks of life.
From Geronimo's grandson
grandson was on
to the guy whose father flew the B-29 was the
second bombing raid on Japan. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's been a fascinating journey for 6 years.
To Casey Kasem's daughter in her work to fight elder abuse.
Yeah. Carrie Kasem kicked us off 6 years ago, and I want to do more. So one of the things we've been talking about is maybe doing sort of specials, like maybe we do an election season special, or we do a focus on like the homeless issue, or maybe it's cannabis or whatever it is, right? And maybe we do it in a format of the show, maybe we do it in a format of a town hall, virtual or otherwise, because we do have facilities at UCI now that we could potentially utilize.
Yeah.
I really think of you guys as not just people that have been on the show as my guests, but I think of you as friends and collaborators. And I really
it's a
would love
family
to hear
that
from
somehow
you
we built. So Jim,
Paul, give me a second, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay. I really would love to hear from you guys what you think we can do as the next evolution. Because Paul is like, well, this is sad it's ending. I don't look at it as an ending. I think it's just time for the next thing. What we did this 6 years ago, it wasn't happening. We opened up a different format and platform. We brought in a bunch of people. Some people even actually found their voice enough that they went on and started to do their own shows. J.G. Winrich, Javon Pera did their shows. We helped produce them for a bit and kind of got them up and running and said, now run, kind of, right? And I'd love to get input from you guys on what we can maybe do as the next evolution.
So let's start with Jim, who's just joined us here. Welcome, Jim. Tell us what your experience was like and what would you like to see next?
Yeah, thanks for asking, and congratulations on a nice long run.
Thanks, Jim.
I couldn't miss at least a few minutes to jump on with everybody that showed up today. So, the thing is, as a podcast host myself, one thing I realized, if I skip a beat and I miss a couple of weeks of a show, people call or text or write like, "Hey, where's your show?"
Yeah.
So, in a sense, you've created a following and an obligation to present something to your listeners. And you're going to have a gap now where people are going to have a missing component.
See, that's what I keep telling Rod. Yeah. Right.
So the thing is, look what's happening with the Rush Limbaugh show. If you pay attention, now that he's gone, everybody's trying to fill his shoes. It'll never happen.
No.
And, not to compare any of us to him, but at the same time, you're going to have this vacuum effect where there's going to be an empty target, right? So I would suggest if you can evolve your show into something that adds even more value, like you said, maybe it's a specific topic for a season or a period of time where people can jump in and really get some great value out of it, maybe focus on guests or educational seminars that will help enhance people's lives. That's really where I try to take my show now, is really enhancing the lives of others that are listening and not just telling somebody else's story once again. And I just think that you've got an incredible opportunity still. It's a lot of work. I feel like once we put ourselves out there in the public, we have an obligation to finish the story or keep the story going in this case. And I would challenge you to find a way to keep doing that. Maybe a rebrand and a retarget. So,
Couldn't agree more.
That's my 2 cents.
No, it's really good input, Jim. I think you and I are due a coffee. So,
well, by the way, and I'll leave it at this. Since I was down there, my show's called The Answer is Yes, and it's about being driven in your life and achieving your goals. Well, coffee would be very difficult right now because I live in Montana, because I'm chasing my goals. I've got a farm up here and I'm raising my
beautiful.
kids.
Oh, man.
Beautiful.
You can come here and have a coffee.
Like
you know
that.
what? I'll take you up on that, my friend. I will do that.
Who else do we got? Is Kara still with us?
Just give me a second, guys. Yeah, Kara's here. Yeah, Kara, can you hear us?
Kara, tell us what you think your experience was like and where should we pivot next?
Hello?
Is Kara? I can't tell who's on with the whole group here or not. Kara,
No, I don't know. She's in the wings. Kara will jump on in a minute. No, but Jim, thank you for that. Yeah, man. I mean, I need to refresh this kind of, right? To stay interested in it, to still feel like there's value that's coming out of it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there that maybe it's a focus on a particular topic or something, but I also feel like one of the things I enjoyed doing most recently was actually giving some people a kind of a boost, a platform, helping them kind of get their own voice out there. And that's a sort of a certain kind of gratification that you're not the person behind the mic, but somebody else is actually providing content that's valuable and useful, to your point, for people. So definitely got to try to do that through Golden Seal Productions, through the production company. But yeah, I like the spotlight a little bit every once in a while. So,
you do? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't
look
know
at the
that.
smiles on everybody's faces. Yeah, they know. So,
You know what I get a kick out of? This is an old, they used to call them literary salons, where the great minds would hang out, not just at a bar, but someplace, and they would get together and, just get to know each other and free think and do stuff. It used to be this kind of tradition of having people from look at the eclectic group of people. Jose Moreno from the Anaheim, it's Anaheim, right? You're in the Anaheim City Council?
Anaheim, well, yes, but I mean, Jose wears multiple hats.
And
yes, the most unhappiest place on earth. Yeah.
yeah. And then Antoinette, remind everybody what you do. You got a whole different background here.
He sure does.
So I run a nonprofit law firm called Veterans Legal
A
Institute.
non-profit law firm. That seems like a contradiction in terms. All law firms are out just for profit, right? And
she's very modest. That her organization does amazing work and impacts so many people so positively, especially with veterans. They are always out there doing stuff, and so
let me ask all of you that are there, and John Dade ran the Cigar Night mixers, and Jim's things that he does.
Jim's a force of nature in his own right, including the podcast. That's like the least. He just gave you a little snippet.
So let me ask seriously, all of you are from such totally different walks of life. if not for a place like the Rad Life where you could intersect, how would you ever even meet each other? Would you ever even listen to each other? Would you ever even know that all of you're such a diverse community of people that he's brought together here? I'll let anybody answer that. Would you, Jose knows the most people in town. Would you run into the Jim Rileys and Antoinette Baltas of the world, but through a forum like this?
Well, I haven't until today. So I mean, that speaks for itself, right? So yeah.
I'm very fortunate that I can answer probably yes to that, Paul.
Yeah.
Even though my background is alternative investments, financial arena, through my networking group, the Cigar Night Business Picture Group, it's targeted at the same very demographic that,
I agree,
you
yeah.
and Rod and Antoinette belong to. I have yet to meet Jose and Jim, but we bring together people from all walks of life in that kind of literary room that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Over a good cigar, a good drink, collaboration, relaxed atmosphere, attorneys, doctors, CPAs, business owners. So I would have, but I'm fortunate through that I did meet you and Rod and Antoinette.
I agree. You're doing the exact same thing in a physical environment.
Well, it's a very. I keep telling people that Orange County is a very small county, right? Yeah. And there, everybody that's on the screen right here, and so many others, they're really out there doing the work in their own way, in their own idiom. What drives them, the passion pursuit that they have, but they're all contributing. They're all giving back, and I think people like that find each other. I think I don't want to really give. I mean, the Raad Life just happened to be a platform that we did, but I think you run into people like that. People of a certain nature find each other, whether it's through social components, whether social events or volunteer opportunities, whatever. And it's really stuff like that, and fun, and interacting with people like lady and gentlemen that are on here and others, that really gives me a sense of purpose when I'm feeling a little worn out, depleted, what have you. And so, speaking of which, there's another superstar that just jumped on there.
Yeah,
Carrie
welcome.
Madrid.
Hey, Carrie, thanks for coming on. We're asking everybody as we reflect on the last of the Raad Life, what comes next? What do you think comes next?
What should we do next, Carrie?
Oh my gosh, you can do anything, sir. Anything. I don't know.
Very
I was
sweet.
really surprised to hear you say that this was it. The job well done.
Thank you. And Carrie, for people who don't know, you've been on the show. Tell people what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a breast cancer survivor that started a nonprofit called the Care Project Inc. in Riverside, California, serving most of Southern California. I also have a podcast that I started last year, having a good time with that, called Handle with Care, Breast Cancer and Beyond. We, much like you, we keep it real, and talk about pressing issues, not just relative to breast cancer, but of course that's the underlying bit of it. Right. So I want to say thank you for having me on the show.
No, my pleasure.
So I'm going to go back to Jose. Jose's
and a shout out to your brother, because like I was just saying before you jumped on, that good people find each other. So shout out to Steve Madrid, the Spaniard that I met. Antoinette knows Steve. I met Steve through Dave Welsh Bespoke Custom Tailors, and Steve was another guy that basically was involved with not Project Independence, with working wardrobes, with veterans, with what is it called, Antoinette? It's something to workforce. What is it? What's the term? That's when veterans are basically transitioning away from military service.
Hard hats to workforce.
Something, but basically there were people that were veterans or that were transitioning back into a workforce, into employment, and Steve and Dave Welsh, they were basically doing donations for clothing and so forth. So again, to the point, I met Carrie through Steve. Carrie's story was very inspirational. She had overcome a lot of challenges and basically was channeling her energy into positive and helping others. And so again, I think, people like us if I may, we find each other, and then we gain strength from one another and inspiration from one another, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so I'm very grateful for all of you guys for being part of this journey for the last
We just
6
had
years.
another phone call. That's so I go. Somebody's like, "It can't really be the last show." And I said, "Well, come on and tell them." No. I just tell them we love them. We want them to come back again here.
Who
I
called?
didn't. She didn't want to say. It was like she's listened to the show. Just I don't even know who it is.
Sweet. Very sweet. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm putting it out. I'm not ready to hang it up completely. I think the format of the Rad Life maybe has nice little neat package on it after 6 years, but I definitely want to continue to contribute and give back and find different and new exciting ways to do it. Because to be honest, I mean, after 6 years, I don't want to basically start doing this thing and not being able to keep it fresh or keep it authentic or somehow.
Well, that's what they say when they write
sort of-
TV series. They get to a point and it's like, we've told all those stories. Now we got to come up with some. So I got to ask Jose the question, because Jose's in the political fore, and he has a particular position he's advocated strongly and hard for in a community he represents. Rod's this mysterious, fudgy middle that we can't identify anymore. Sometimes he sounds like a Republican. Sometimes he sounds like a Democrat. Sometimes he sounds like just a
John's
crazy
laughing.
man
He
here.
knows exactly what you're
I don't know
talking
what, and this is the biggest group growing in America and in Orange County. The biggest registered voters are the ones that say, the heck with both parties. I'm not going to tell you what I believe. I'm not sure I have a firm set of beliefs. What do you think, Jose? Is Rod the future, or is Rod just some weird exception?
I think Rod is I think is the hope of our Constitution. I mean,
Wow. There you go.
Wow.
it's and I say I really mean that. It's about people, and that people build together, and governments should serve people, not the other way around. But at the end, there's going to be a safety net that is organized, and we should call that government. And I think Rod just brings that. And so for me, it's that. It's just, and in Spanish we say gente, right? When I speak about people like Rod, it's gente, like he's just people.
Yeah. I
And-
can't ever
and-
pin
and I
him
think
down, though.
it-
He hates being put in a box. The minute I try, he resists and he wiggles out of it. I don't know what he stands for. We've had agreements and arguments through the years.
Jim notes.
I start to think I know where he's coming from, and then
we're cut from the same cloth.
and I start to
Move
say
on.
something, and he fights back with it. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I thought that's no. On this issue, I'm completely the other way, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. He's all over the place here.
But that's what I like about being, and Rad, thank you for having me on the show.
Of course.
And I'm happy to talk about, my book and other things. But Rad and I have had many coffees and many cigars, many drinks together
Yeah.
over the years. And even though he knows and I know that we're diametrically opposed on a number of things, he has the ability to make you feel comfortable on the show.
He does.
He has the ability to talk and exchange with you ideas and thoughts, not put you in a box or put you off, and bring the best out in you being on his show, making you feel comfortable, and I appreciate that.
So we got another
You're
guest
very
joined
kind,
us,
John. Thank you.
Diana Sabatino. Remind us what you do. I remember you being on his show here. Remind us
What doesn't she do?
what doesn't she do? That's what I want to find out. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Well, I have a training
Diana.
company, but what I came on the show to promote was eWomen Network.
That was it. Yes.
I am I'm the managing director for in Orange County. So
So you're another networking group, and John does these fun networking after work, cigar and whiskey nights and stuff. What do you think? Are we pulling people together, or are we just forming little tribes that never interact? Because look at this tribe here today. This is a pretty diverse
Amazing.
group of people here. What do you think, Diana? Has he found some formula for crossing the gap and building cross tribal networks here?
You just don't want to let me go, do you? You just don't want to let me stop.
I don't, because I don't see anything like this. I've never seen. I can't. I'm look at the response today. We wasn't sure anybody was going to call in, and look at all of you felt the need to join us today, and there isn't two of you I would have connected together in the real world, because you all have such totally different worlds and tribes and connections. What do you think, Diana? You're trying to network women together. Is this harder or easier today?
Well, I think honestly, I think it's necessary today. I think one of the things that Rad does amazingly is he's a consummate connector, right? And I think that's why you do have the diverse group that you have here. But I think ultimately this last year has shown us all how much community and connection is a necessity, not only in our businesses, but in our lives, right?
Yeah.
Of making sure that we are surrounded by people that are supporting us, or individuals that are providing us information or tools or resources, or maybe it's just friendships and relationships, because that's what everything is built on, right? Is built on those relationships and those connections that we make. And as I said, I think Rod's a consummate connector.
He is.
In doing that and building great community around himself and what he's done with the Raad Life over the last 6 years.
But how does he connect so many diverse groups? I understand he's just curious about all these things.
He's interested in people. It's called, that's what business and life is all about, right? It's not about you. It's about connecting with everybody else and how you can support them. And he has a true love and interest of people.
So can I tell you the proof of that is that obviously I'm like a radio station. I charge for the time here. So, Rod, through the years, people say, why are you paying for a show? What do you get out of this? Why do you do this? Are you most of our show hosts are trying to promote themselves as an accountant or a lawyer or something. There's some tangible thing they're trying to tout. I'm a thought leader on this. Look at who I know. Look at what I know. I get it. I mean, that's part of why we all do these things. But Rod doesn't get anything out of doing all this stuff here. That's what I find so amazing.
No, that's not true, Paul. And I know where you're going with this. And it's true. I mean, it's like the same question people ask me. Like, oh, yeah, you have a show. You've been doing it for 4 years. Well, how do you monetize that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't. Like I don't, it has no direct connection with my interior design business whatsoever. Right. But to be fair, the show, like if somebody had told me, and maybe this is to Diana's point, and I really appreciate you saying that, Diana, because it's very true. I mean, that's one of the best compliments anybody can give me, is to genuinely be interested in people without kind of any expectations, really. And I really try to do that, because I really everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something to contribute. I don't care if you're the person, cleaning the shopping cart at the grocery store, or the person, everybody's got something to contribute. And I genuinely believe that. And I think I have been paid in full. I think I have been more than rewarded doing the show for 6 years. It has nothing to do with my business. It doesn't have any direct correlation with monetizing for my business. But it has done a lot for my personal brand, absolutely. And it has given me opportunities to actually meet amazing people that in their own rights, in their own ways, in their own little corners, are doing such a positive impact on other people. There was we all say, leave it better than you found it, right?
Yeah,
leave it better than you found it. Well, about a year or so ago, I came across this guy's Instagram, and he had written, leave people better than you found them. So it no longer became an impersonal it became a personal thing, right? And what better legacy, honestly, any of us can basically hope to claim, right, than to basically leave people better than we found them. And all the stuff, I mean, to John's point, yes, we all have our own idioms and idiosyncrasies and leanings and momentary, lapses of judgment or opinionation or whatever it is, right? But nothing that a good cigar and a good scotch won't take care of, right, John? So or Jim, a really good red wine, right? So by the way, that bottle is still sitting ready, waiting to be opened in Big Bear. So
I'm gonna drink it.
I'm gonna drink it.
So do any of you find him?
I will take you up on that invitation. So I really want to see that place of yours. It looks amazing in person.
So do any of you find him as hard to pin down as I do? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Everybody else I get and I say, oh yeah, I know where they're coming from. This is their passion. This is who they speak for. This is the point of view. but Rod is all over the place. He's a mystery to me still. 6 years later, I can't tell you. Is he liberal? Is he conservative? Is he big city? Is he small town? Is he international? Is he local? I mean, he's all of these
Why
things.
do we need to put people in small little boxes?
I have to. That's what we do.
Right.
Why? Why do we need to avoid the complexity and the layering of people?
We'll make it simple.
They,
We'll make it simple, Paul.
Okay.
He's human.
He's
No.
human, but
He's a human.
we have all become such comic books.
Some would argue with you, John, but I appreciate that.
yeah, but Brad said once that he's a citizen of the world.
He is really. Carlos, thank you for joining us here today.
Hey, Carlos.
How you doing?
Rod is not easily put into a box and resists every time I try and close the lid and put him into a box here. He, more than anybody I've ever known, seems to have that old, what was it, that idea of a little, he knows a little bit about everything, and he seems to know a wide group of people that don't, otherwise don't come together.
Hey, Paul, I want to make a comment on something you said a few minutes ago, and I'm going to have to bounce on the call after this because I had a call scheduled already.
Appreciate you coming, yeah.
I'm thrilled that you guys did this. You said, Rod's brought together an eclectic group of people.
Right.
And how does that happen, right? And I think it's because of his giving spirit and his ability to connect people without wanting something in return. Because ultimately, it always comes back to us in one way or another. He discovered that a long time ago. So my challenge to you for the next step is teach others the secret sauce of what you've been doing for the last 6 years. Teach others how to have a Zoom call in 6 years from now, that they have an eclectic group of people that have logged on that you had no idea that they would be here. Because I know you didn't know I was going to be here. I haven't talked to you for over a year, but I wanted to be a part of this moment. Yeah, because of who you are. So I think your next step, your next show should be about teaching the secret sauce of giving unconditionally, helping unconditionally, and allowing people to discover one another. And I will tell you that the Zoom service and the podcast life has done wonders in the last couple of years in a COVID environment, because I live in a very small town on a ranch in Montana. There's nobody out here.
Yeah.
But I feel as connected here as I did when I lived in the big city.
Wow.
So I'm thankful for the tools, and I'm thankful for the podcasts that are put out there that everybody does. And especially for you, Rod, keep it up. I look forward to your next segment.
Love you, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Means a lot, Jim. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
What do you think, Carlos? You joined us a little just a moment ago here. Is Rod onto something? This idea of give without asking and just show curiosity for everything, or is this just too weird and we've got to focus? Focus.
A little bit of both.
Oh, you're muted there. Carlos is muted there.
Yeah, I didn't want to have any background noise.
So what do you think? Is this weird, or is this what we should all aspire to?
Okay, one of the best things, I've been working with Raad 7 years now, and exactly 7 years, and is
almost to the day. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty much what I can say. It's a blessing working with him. One day he shows up to my office because he was referred by another people that he got connected. So this is one of those part of the point. I can consider him kind of like a Yelp. You ask him for anybody, he will find you.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So he transformed my business literally after designing the whole office here, and then designing the building, the house, and everything that we do around here. And he said, look, every money that you're going to spend in this, you're going to get 20 times the return of investment. And I can say, thank you, Raad. Thank you very much. I never say that in public, but
now we got it on tape here.
It's my pleasure. And thank you for your friendship and your trust. I mean, it's been a great 7 years, and we just had another conversation yesterday about, okay, this is the next thing we're going to do. It's very exciting to surround yourself with people, to be fortunate enough to surround yourself with people that really inspire you.
Now, Carlos, you do some amazing stuff. Give us 20 seconds on Carlos, because he had me come over and meet you one time.
Yes.
And you were talking about, hey, maybe, because you help a whole Hispanic business community who may not understand how the system works. You help them navigate everything from soup to nuts. You help them build their business, help immigrants make their way in this world here.
Yes, it's amazing that many people that here that sometimes they don't have a social security or a green card, they
Yeah.
can make millions of dollars selling their products. And I have one client who's selling ice cream, Mexican ice cream. He's making $20 million a year.
$20
Yep.
million selling Mexican ice cream. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
tell them about the person selling candy, Mexican candy, and how much.
Oh
they're
yeah, that one he has 2 locations now, one here and one in Texas. And he's selling over 24 million just in California. I don't
in
know the-
candy.
Yes,
Candy.
Mexican candy.
candy. But
Yeah.
and what do you do for them? What kind of services do you provide for these people?
Oh, my is the best part. Keeping all the books and records in place, having the corporation in order, and doing the payroll, and doing the taxes, and managing his finances. And now he's into real estate, so he's making more money now. So, and we help either a painter, a landscaper, or a designer. Is anybody who needs help on the financial industry? We're here to manage their money so they don't screw it up with the IRS.
Is there some way to build this into events, John, where we could, like sort of where you do it for fun, where people network for fun? Is there a way to take this diverse group of people and have them not evaporate into the wind? Is Raad the only point of connection for everybody here? Or is there some way, would we all want to get together and just sort of hang out and get to know a guy who handles books in Mexican community in Antoinette, who does a nonprofit law firm for veterans, and on, all these unique, otherwise unconnected people?
I'm so glad you guys jumped on, honestly, because to Paul's point, I've never believed on holding things so tightly, right? Especially things that are important like this, like people that are genuinely giving, their souls are so right? They're authentic. Whether you agree with them on everything or you don't, you respect them for their commitment and their passion and what they do, whatever it is, big, small, political, non-political. I don't want to hold that tight. The whole point of it is to share it. The whole point of it is to basically connect these people directly. If I used to say that if a client doesn't call me for 6 years and then calls me on the 6th years and say, you know what, I just realized you did that thing in that corner of that room that really was exactly what I needed when I needed it just now. Like, that is the best friggin' compliment. Like, I don't want that to hold things so tight. It's not about me. I mean, I've said this to people doing shows. You don't do a podcast. If you do a podcast where you are the person, it's about you behind the mic, then that's not a podcast. That's an infomercial.
Yeah.
If you want to do a podcast, it's always about the guest. If you're lucky enough, people are listening in because they like to hear how you filter that guest, how you draw things out. And that in itself is a joy and an experience if you're lucky enough to do it. I don't want to hold people tightly. I mean, every single person here should be in direct connection with the other person. And if we can actually take this, I think where Paul was pointing out, John, is we had talked about, like, do we do Raad Life events? Like, do we actually just bring people together? Whether it's on a topic or whether just in general? Because if I shut down the show, let's say, right, and the only thing that comes out of it is that everybody that's been on this show is now connected with everybody else that was on this show, I will feel like $1 million.
What a cool thing that is.
Like every minute of the last 6 years would have been meaningful.
All right, so I'm going to go through the guests. I'm going to ask you. Here's one I pushed him on, and he laughed. He had I'll say a goofy guest. It was a goofy. He's had some really goofy guests on. He had some guy that comes
Everybody's
on.
got something to contribute, Paul.
He had somebody come on his show.
Even the goofy guest.
He was a goofy guest. This is way out there, and he does some kind of strange Swiss fondue parties. He's a chef that has lived all over the world, from Vietnam to France to Spain to whatnot. And he found this strange type of fondue they do only in Switzerland that Raad immediately...
Raclettes, it's not fondue.
Raclette. And they dip in the thing, and it's all to get people to come in and break bread together. And it's messy, and you have to do it together, and it gets people talking. I said, Raad, you should do some raclette parties and get some strange house, some fancy house, some weird place you're going to do it in, and bring people together. And the only agenda is, let's try something crazy and messy and weird that we've never done before and see if people would like that. What do you think, Diana? Would you go to a raclette party, a fondue party if Raad threw them here?
Sure, I'd go anywhere where Rod's at.
See?
You're so
He's
great.
inviting me, I'm there.
All right, Carrie,
You're always invited.
come on. Would you come in from Riverside to go to a raclette party in a fancy house and dip fondue and weird things just to hang out with this weird
Only
group
if
of people?
Diana's there also.
Okay.
I want to just mention this really quickly because I have to go back to work. Thank you for inviting me. And I want to just say that when my brother Steve told me about Rod and said, hey, I got this guy, he's a friend of mine, and you should go on his show. And I was like, why is this guy from the OC going to want me from downtown Riverside to come in, right? And talk about what I do. And so I had to go because he invited me. And I will just say from the minute he came and found me at my car and walked me in or whatever, I felt like I was at home and I felt like I had another brother. And
Wow. See,
he
look at
made
that.
me feel like, I don't want to get emotional. Well, I'm going to get emotional because that's what I do.
You're making me tear up, Terry.
He made me feel like I belonged. And that's very important.
Wow.
When you do nonprofit work, I work full time and I run my nonprofit as a volunteer and everything else that I do. And connections are everything. And just being there, I don't know if it sparked any connection for me for the business itself, but it did something for me and it validated the work that I do. And I just want to mention that Diana is also a connection for me from the OC, who knew I met at an event at Bespoke where my brother had me come and talk for no good reason. Dave Welch let me talk about what I do. And Diana said, I can help you. And she gave us our very first ever grant. And
Wow,
I
look
flew
at
to
that.
Texas. And the day I landed, as I got off my shuttle bus, I got a message that my girlfriend died from her breast cancer that moment. And Diana was there to hug me and to love on me and gave me my first start with a grant. And so connection is everywhere. But I will say that feeling like I belonged, and it doesn't matter that I came from the hood of Riverside to OC. He just embraced me, and you guys made me feel at home. And
Because we usually don't let anybody from Riverside here. I got to tell you that. We just do not let anybody from
I
Riverside
appreciate it. So thank you so much. And I'm going to always be in touch with you, but I got to go back to my paying gig now.
Please
so
do. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you for taking the time, Carrie. Love you.
Beautiful.
Love you too.
Talk to
thing
you
there.
soon.
All right, Antoinette, what do you think? You're in a whole strange new world. Would you go to a raclette party and you'd say, why am I wasting my time? I need to be focusing and building on my business and my community and everything else. And Rod's like, let's just try something we've never tried before. Let's all get together and dip our hands into this messy cheese here.
Well, I have had raclette and it's amazing.
You
So-
have? Okay. Two people have
I
heard
would
of it now.
I would definitely attend that party, especially if there was it was paired with some really nice wine, which I know that Rod appreciates.
Yeah.
I agree with Rod in the sense of, people come together by breaking bread. And Rod has been an example of this, I think, throughout his career. He is a jack of many trades, and he has a unique curiosity in life and a unique character where he likes to give back and contribute. And some of the things he does over the radio where we can hear him or we can see him, and some of the things he does very quietly, but he always contributes. So it's always a pleasure to break bread with people who inspire me and bring new ideas and thoughts and inspiration to my life. So I vote yes. And I actually think we should put that into play. I'm not joking. Like, I want raclettes.
I thought that was a cool thing. Our Chris Duncan just joined us. Welcome, sir. What brought you in here again? You've been on the Raad Life. What do you think of this crazy program? And what the heck? Why the heck
his own show that we produced for a bit too?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Daily Duncan.
The Daily Duncan. That wasn't happening daily.
No, not even close. Maybe weekly. No.
Weekly.
So yeah, no, I just got the message and I had to be part of this because Rod is such an important part of my life. You guys had me on there getting me started when I had my assembly campaign, which turned into my city council campaign. Rod is a big reason why I'm on the San Clemente City Council. I mean, and look at the guy. Defiant's cool, man. The dude is just cool. He's just fun, easy to talk to for anybody, relatable, and you just want to hang out with this guy when you see him, right?
And he
conversation was just always so easy.
It's always so many fascinating things. Maybe it's because he comes from, I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, but because of his international background and his international parents, born in Lebanon, and then
Antoinette is right there with me, man.
living in Iraq, and being there in Kuwait, and then studying in Switzerland. And I mean, this is a world traveler that you just don't run into many places anymore. So maybe that's given him an international
the only lesson out of all of that, Paul, honestly, is exactly what I just said earlier. Everybody's got something to contribute.
You do.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic level. It doesn't matter your bank account. It doesn't matter. Every single person has something to contribute. And if you can't take the time to find that, you miss out. You lose.
All right. So Chris,
well, I gotta jump in a second, but I do want to echo what Antoinette said. It's the curiosity, man. You know, Curious George was like my favorite book growing up. Raad is like the Curious George of like grown guys.
He is.
He's just interested in so much stuff, and he has a genuine interest, right? Like when you talk to him, you're like, this is the real guy. This is authentic dude. He's really actually interested in, and he, you know, so the conversation never stops.
Tell you,
what were you gonna say, Paul?
I'll tell you what's terrible though, Chris. Try to be his producer, trying to get him to hold him to an hour, because all of a sudden he's like, well, let's go off in this direction. I'm like, Raad, the show's over, buddy. No, but I got 4 more things we're gonna. I know, no, it's over. We're done.
I can only imagine. Yeah, he wants to do every topic, right? You can just keep on going 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Great job, Paul, on it, and just really, really appreciate everything that Raad has done. It's such an impactful presentation here with the Raad Life, and giving people so many chances to kind of express where they're coming from and make connections. So you know, it's bittersweet, but I know it's the best move for Raad right now, and on to new adventures.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for coming on.
Taking the time to be.
So, Jose, you're out there in politics trying
Here's
to
a mask, Raad.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Tailor-made face mask right there.
That's it.
Let's come back to Jose here. I got a question that's really going to embarrass Raad, and I know his answer to this. I've said with this sort of cross connection in the community, and he's an influencer, he's a connector, he's got his finger on the pulse. Why can't we get him to step up and take some political risk and step up for some office? Every time I'd say that, he groans and rolls his eyes and says, no way. Then I got to force myself into taking positions and sticking with one thought and having one group back me. And he's a man of the community. And why can't we get him to do community action here? What do you think, Jose?
Because politics is for the faint of heart, and he is not faint of heart.
He thinks it'll corrupt him and change him and force him into being somebody he's not here.
No, that would be an awesome thing for Raad to do. We need that. We absolutely need that. It was good to hear Chris. That's one of the things that Raad, you had me on the show on about, is about the whole toll road and TSA or TCA back in those days, and the community of San Clemente saying, wait a minute, where's our voice in this? Where do we fit?
Can you believe it? San Clemente is even considered a pulling out of the TCA. I mean,
they just voted.
Did they?
Yeah, they just voted to pull out. Yeah. So I think I would love to see Raad run for
something
political office. I would love for him to run at a local level, because at the local level, you know, people get celebrity stardom in Congress and state seats, and it's more about them and all the money that goes to that. But at the local levels where the rubber hits the road, that's where the true safety net comes from. And Raad, you'd be great, man. You'd be great.
Thank you.
County supervisor, maybe. Or local city council.
I'll tell you one who surprised me didn't come on today. I know we talked about it. Talk about from one spectrum to the other. Mayor of Mission Viejo, Greg Rath, who's run very conservatively for many things here, almost had a good shot at state or at congressional seat and stuff, and is now running, I guess, for supervisor and stuff here. Not something that I don't think Raad and Greg agree a lot about, but every time they get together, they're laughing and having a good time. And I remember Greg said to him one time, "You got to get in there, buddy." And Raad's like, "No, I can't. Come on. This is, you know, everybody likes me now. Then they'll just end up hating me and stuff." And he's like, "No, man, come on in. It's easy. You'll like it."
You know, the one thing also I'll have to say about this show is, we used to say it jokingly. We used to say, you know what? I'm an equal opportunity griller.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on.
You are.
I will give you the equal respect and equal grilling. And I think it's sad that we don't have platforms like that. It's sad that we have things not already, like where somebody, regardless, John will speak to this. We don't agree on a few things, but you know what? I don't think. I mean, I'm not putting words in John's mouth, but I don't think he would feel uncomfortable ever to have a conversation about anything, and to have a platform where we can actually give each other that common respect and actually still be able to talk to one another versus add each other. We don't have all that around, and I know every single person that is on here, in their own way, proves that and tries to provide that. And it's hard. It's not easy these days to do that. But
Rod pushes people in a way that, and they push back, but doesn't create a division. Jose's been on a couple times, and I thought to myself, Rod, buddy.
Let me correct you. Jose's been on the most times.
And I don't know this, but I get the feeling that Jose and Rod share a lot of similar views, a little more liberal on some things and stuff here and community activity and stuff. However, I've seen him grill Jose a couple of times, and I'm like, ouch, I don't think Jose's coming back after that one here. What do you think, Jose? I mean, what keeps you coming back? He gets uncomfortable sometimes. He pushes some of these things.
Yeah, I again, that's where, it's supposed to be about deliberation, conversation, and that's what democracy is supposed to be about. And so if you can't, what do they say? If you can't stand the kitchen, if you can't stand the heat,
get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, and I just think what Rod cooks is pretty good. So I like that kitchen.
But I think it's what that one guest was saying from Riverside. He makes everybody feel welcome at the table. That's what I find amazing.
I'm sorry. I bought into this thing called America. I was overseas.
Yeah, you did. You came
and I kind of bought into this. I bought into the 8x10 glossy presentation deck that talked about one voice, one vote, equality,
better together.
Rights.
Yeah.
I came from a part of the world where you were either born a native in that country or you were never a native in that country. That you were either on the inside of an established circle or you were not. And I bought into this thing called America. Sorry, United States, but you did a great job, branding and marketing to the rest of the planet. And I came here and I believed it, and I still believe it. I'm 56 years old. My eyes are not glazed over with rosy colored glasses, but I still believe that there's a lot of truth to it. And I think the saddest thing is when people stop believing in that, and it shouldn't be a fight. There should be plenty of room. I mean, I'm part of certain discussion groups where we literally walk in the room knowing full well that we are not going to agree on some of these things. But what our interest is not compromise, but common ground. Like it's not common ground is not a nasty word. Compromise, I can see being where somebody is basically giving up maybe a little bit too much because the motivation is to find a middle ground. But if we go in looking for common ground in anything, we are going to be motivated to find it. It's like, how do you pose a question is going to predetermine the kind of answer you get, right? And I believe in this thing called America, the American experiment, the shiny
city on the hill,
right? I mean, I was never registered anything other than a Republican, and that went away like over a decade ago, right? I lean this way and that way depending on issues. I've never voted based on party preference. I'm sorry, but I have never. I voted always for the person.
How can you do
based
that?
On a topic. And so maybe because I grew up elsewhere and we didn't have that benefit that that you were born into a certain tribe, if you will, of a D or an R. And what the heck is the deal with two parties only in this country too? Like seriously,
I've never understood that.
Really? I mean, that's how poor the United States is. We can't have more than two parties.
So here's what Rod taught me. And years ago, I don't even know if he remembers this, but we had a conversation about immigrants. I grew up, I'm a long Midwesterner. Grew up in Trump
We love
territory.
you anyway, Paul. Don't worry about it.
But I left the tribe, and now they all think I've gone off the deep end. I'm in California. I'm a crazy. I'm a goofy. I'm a hippie. I'm a whatever else.
Fruits and nuts. Yes, you're in the land of fruits and nuts.
So, but I go back to, that's where all my family is for generations and generations, back in the soil, back in the small towns in the Midwest that have all felt left behind and devastated, and I get why they're angry and pissed off and looking for somebody to do this. But here's what I remind them that Rod reminded me. Nearly all of us, not every one of us, but almost all of us came from somewhere else once upon a time. Poor, broke, with nothing. We came, the huddled masses yearning to be free.
Talk about common ground, right? Talk about common ground.
The bottom of the barrel. First, it was the Irish wave that came over in the 1800s. My long-lost relatives from way back when, up through Hispanics of today and Chinese and Mexicans and Muslims and everything else. And Rod said this. He said, you know what? The people who keep the American dream alive are the immigrants. They're the ones that believe this. Now, maybe it is a dream, but for them, they're willing to risk everything to come here for that dream, the chance of that dream. They're the ones that come and believe, and then are shocked when we find out, well, it's really not for everybody, or it really doesn't work as well as we thought it did, or it's not as homogeneous as we want it to be here. It doesn't melt as well as we want it.
There's still nowhere else on the planet.
It is here.
Okay, there's still nowhere else on the planet where you can have a chance at the highest possible return on the effort and spirit that you put into something. There's nowhere else on the planet. Everywhere else on the planet is already infrastructured in, has enclosed circles. It's harder to do this. And we happen to be in a state, because even in this country, there's certain varying degrees of this. We happen to be in a state that honestly, every day, somebody who has some wild ass idea or thought of making some widget better or somebody's lives better or something more pleasant and experience, that puts enough passion and drive and commitment in it with some street smarts and some backing and support of some group of people or a tribe or family, can succeed beyond their own dreams. You tell me one other place that can still happen consistently in 2021, especially after a year of global pandemic.
Like a guy walking into my studio saying, I'm going to do a show. I'm not sure what it's going to be about, but it's going to explore anybody and everybody I find fascinating. And 6 years later, we're all here celebrating this strange thing that I still can't tell you what it is. It's just the Raad Life. It's just a verb. It's his life. And it's I don't know anybody else that lives
we gotta stop worrying. We gotta stop worrying about pigeonholing and making things into neat little boxes so we can put them on a shelf with a label.
I'm a marketing person.
We really gotta stop doing that. That is the bane of our existence. It's honestly, when we try to basically simplify things so they can fit in a 42 characters on Twitter or friggin' like a little box on a shelf, right? When we start doing that,
a tagline.
We homogenize people. We homogenize experience. We take away the uniqueness of people's stories out of it because we're trying to make them fit a mold. I understand the marketing thing. I understand the need to standardize things so that you can sell them easier to a mass number of people. But that's one thing. When you're interacting with people, when you're genuinely opening yourself to experience what people have to offer, we got to stop pigeonholing people and making them try to fit a mold. We are each individual and unique and the best version of who we are. Stop trying to make people fit a fucking mold because it's easier for you. That's crazy.
That's you're an anti-American now here. We all want to pigeonhole and package everything here. I'll tell you the frustration I've had.
It's a good thing you still have immigrants coming to the country.
It is. I'll tell you in 6 years, here's my frustration, guys, and we'll end with this. I want everybody to come up with the missing thing. The one thing this show's been missing for 6 years is a tagline. I've never been able to put it, the Raad Life, the one show that, what? I don't know what
the tagline's been in the title all along, Paul. Have you not been paying attention?
What is it?
It's the Raad Life.
That's it. That's it. Come up. Well, if you were going to describe this show to somebody and say people who've missed it or people who may want to tune in the future to it, what would you say, Diana? What's the Raad Life all about?
It's about life. It's about life as individuals, as we know it, as we all hear it, as we all, our voices, everybody's voice, not one voice. I think what Rad does really well is he builds relationship capital. You know, he always
Yes,
says he
right.
doesn't monetize, but actually it is monetizing, because he gets that capital, that relationship capital that feeds into other resources, people, things that, and connections that do get monetized. So I think the Rad Life is just totally rad because it has everybody's voice encompassed in it.
I don't know if we can beat that, but John, what's the tagline for the show here? That's a pretty good one.
Thanks, Dan.
That's a tough one to follow. I'll give you there. Relationship University.
Relationship University. Ooh, how to build and do
And coming from Mr. John Day,
relationships. Yeah. All right, Jose, what's the tagline of the show here? What have we been missing for 6 years? How do we?
I think I put it in the chat, but I like what John just said and what Diana said too. I said, well, you come to be true. I mean, this is where you just come to be true, where you can be you and get valued and get grilled and get celebrated at the same time.
Valued, celebrated.
You know, you guys are making it really easy to pull the plug on this. Really difficult, I should say. To pull the plug on this thing.
Well, it's an unusual thing. I've been doing this now for 10 years. We have 15, 20 shows at any given time. All of them have a very niche, a narrow focus, a tribe that they preach or teach or try and connect. This has been the one show I can't figure out, and yet it's been our longest running show. And in many ways,
well, then you know what? I've done something right. If you can't figure it out after 6 years and you're still a mystery that makes you tune in every week to try to figure it out, then I did the right thing.
It's the Rad Life. It's a verb.
I hate it when people basically get pigeonholed. I absolutely detest it. I mean, Diana knows exactly what I'm talking about. I hate it. I think it is the most disrespectful thing you can do to any human being on the planet, is to basically somehow marginalize them or feel like they don't really have anything to contribute.
Well, boy, this show has, she said, define you. The show has resisted definition. It doesn't, every other show has a tagline. Welcome to this, the one show that does this. This show is just what it says. It's Rad's life. It's his view on life here, and it's all the people he runs across in his daily living here and brings together joyously. And as that one guest said, respectfully, make them feel like their voice is heard. Yeah.
The only reason it's a Rad Life is because I am privileged and fortunate to have friends and colleagues and people that are really close to me, like the people that are on this show. I got a question for you guys before we call it a day, because I'm kind of really been kind of brainstorming while we've been talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Here. If we were to continue to do this, part of my resistance to wanting to continue to do it right now is because I feel like I've done it. Like I don't want to bring sort of a staleness to this. I don't want to have it be sort of diluted or diminished in any way. Would you guys be interested in co-hosting certain episodes on certain things? Would you jump on as a host for this show?
Sure.
If you provided the forum, they'd come in and
yeah, I mean, there's going to be things, because the show has not been limited. It's wide ranging. It's stuff that's timely. It's stuff that's universally applicable. Things that are very paramount in everybody's life sometimes. And we don't know where it's going. I mean, I've never really kind of prepped more than about a month ahead for the show. I've never really consciously prepared for any particular show, because I always wanted an authentic exchange to happen with on the show for people to experience.
You were one of the few that came on pretty cold every time. Most of the shows have notes and research and other things here. You come on pretty cold, like the old Johnny Carson.
Jose's laughing because he knows I don't come on cold. I just don't come on with notes.
Well, but I'm saying you come on, you say, give it to me. Johnny Carson, I got to meet Johnny Carson many years ago. I was an entertainment publicist, went on the show with clients many times, and he had a very unique way of doing it that reminds me a lot of Rod. Two things drove Johnny Carson. They would give him a stack of notes and he'd push them aside. He'd say, what do you want to talk about? What do you need to talk about here today? Then let's not talk anymore off the air. Let's do it on the air. Let it be fresh. He wouldn't even talk to the guests during the break. I don't want to waste it then. I want to be amazed. I want to be surprised. I want to find something just like the audience does here in real life. That's a scary thing to do. And the other thing that Johnny Carson always did was this. I remember as a young publicist going to the show, some client, and I said, "What's the big deal? What does he do? Why has he been here for 30 years?" And my boss said, "Oh, no, you're not watching, kid." I said, "Anybody could. He drives in 10 minutes before the show. He doesn't look at any of the notes. He has a ball with it, and he just gets up and drives off." And he said, "You're missing the whole point, the magic of what Johnny does, and it's the same thing Rod does. He's there to make the guest look good, not himself. All the other hosts that have come from David Letterman on down, love them all, but they're there to get the joke. They're there to look into the camera and say something funny and to feed off of what the guest is saying. Johnny was the opposite. He was there to make them feel good. If they needed help, he was funny. If he didn't, he sat back. But he always was curious. He always laughed at the jokes. He always had a ball with them. And I think that's a rarity.
It's the least thing that I could do when people honored me with their time to come on and share about themselves. It was never about me.
No.
I genuinely wanted to visit. I wanted to get to know that person, even if I have known them. And Carlos I've known for seven years. Jose I've known for probably as long, if not longer. Diana I've known for almost the same time. Not one of these people that I have known, when I sat down with them on the show, did it feel like it was a regurgitation of what I already knew about them. It was like we were having a conversation that was fresh, that was now, and we were sharing that with everybody who wanted to basically listen at the time or later. And if you look at the content, and I mean, I'll own it. I have never gone back and listened to a show again, ever.
No, when it's over, it's over. You're like Carson. When it was over, he went out the door, and that was it.
Right?
Yeah.
People who have listened to old shows have said to me, that's great. And it's like 2 years later, and this content and whatever is still relevant. And I honestly believe it's because everybody who showed up, most people, I'd say 99% of the people who showed up, they brought their honest truth. They brought their real truth, their authentic nature to the show. And they shared it from a position of vulnerability. They shared it from a position of generosity, of spirit. And that is what I actually am afraid to dilute right now, because after 6 years, it feels like we need to just retool at least a little.
Yeah.
Come up with something that is going to keep it relevant and fresh.
In the end, I felt, and others felt, Carson was just sort of walking through it. He didn't have the same passion for it.
I don't want to do that to the Raad Life. I don't want to do that to all the guests that I had the privilege to have on. So I think, we'll brainstorm, and I'm putting it out to everybody who's listening to this and to you guys, just like we did earlier in this episode. Come back to me. Share with me some of your thoughts, because you've sat in the room with me, right? You've experienced this. You've seen other people on the show. How do we take this to the next evolutionary step? Not shelve it. Maybe it's a rebranding. Maybe it's under the same name. Maybe it's, there's specials that happen on certain things. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff that continues to be impactful in all of our lives. We've got potential recession coming up. We've got affordable housing. We've got things that are genuinely impacting the population in Orange County and beyond. And we all are living it. It's going to impact us.
The transformation of an aging county that you keep harping about, that I don't think anybody pays attention to. How we're going to end up being one giant leisure world here if we're not careful.
Right. So I mean, I would love for you guys to give me some input, honestly, whether you're listening to us or if you're on here. And we're running out of time here, I know.
Yeah. I
really, really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you guys for jumping on today. It means a lot to me. And it has been an amazing, it's very humbling. I'm trying to hold it together, honestly, right now. It's really humbling to sit here and have you guys listen. Oh, you're cute.
Rod, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I thought I heard Carrie say that you met her at her car.
At where?
At her car when she went on the show. That you literally went to meet her.
She came down and met her.
In all of my visits, I had to park like 2 miles down the street. Yep. Tell the security guy that I was actually going to get a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Sneak my way up to your building.
Yep.
and through what seemed like a back door. What's going on, Rod?
He's different with women. I can only say, Jose, he's much more, Diana, he'd escort her all the way. Carlos, he'd say,
what?
meet
Diana too?
Yeah, he did this with women. He's a I don't know. I
got lunch at the club. Didn't you get lunch
at the club too?
Oh yeah, but he made me put on some waiter uniform and said you got to go through that door over there.
Oh no, I did not.
Yes.
Stop.
I believe it. Yeah.
Ada's going to be listening to this show. I don't need her to hear that, Jose.
I'm joking.
Very different with women. That's all I can say. A whole different.
As am I. That's why we love Rod, because we know that everybody gets their own way. So Rod, thank you for this, and I do hope you continue to do it. I really do.
My friend. I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, and
I'm looking
Orange
forward
County.
To seeing how you reimagine it, though.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's like the Rad Life reimagined, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Like kind of a new version of.
I'll tell you what's kind of interesting about that specifically, Diana, is when we started the show, the idea was that it was going to be a journey of aging, not my aging. It was going to be a journey of aging.
I know. I think we talked about my age on your show, which was not appropriate.
Yeah.
But okay.
See, again, different with women. Always different. We never asked Jose about his age. Right.
I absolutely love the experience and the seasoning that comes with age, and the people that basically carry it and own it. I don't care about the number. Right. But what started off with the show is literally, it was like and Paul dubbed me the age explorer. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Right. Anyway, so it was a journey of aging. It was supposed to be about, as people get older, the realities of their life. And I told Paul from the very beginning, I don't know if we mentioned this on the air before or not. I said, you know what? I'll do the show. So I just turned 50. And I'm like, sure, why not? I was Yes Man for, Jim Carrey Yes Man for 6 months. Yes, I'll do runway walks. Yes, I'll do a radio show, whatever. Right. And so it became the journey of aging. And I said, I don't want to talk about adult diapers, and I don't want to talk about incontinence for an hour. Other than that, everything is open. And we had no idea what to do. And we ended up basically happy accidents. I believe in happy accidents like nobody's business. Carrie Kasem comes along. I meet her. Would you be on a show? Sure. She gets on the show. She sets up the whole organic conversational format of the show by just being a guest on the show. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And what then happened is it transitioned, not with any consciousness, it transitioned into my journey of aging. As I get older and things are of interest to me, and bringing them in and sharing them. And that's what became kind of the show. It was still about aging, but all of a sudden it's about me aging, right? And kind of,
and the people you bump into, and the happy accidents, and
exactly. And so where we're at right now, to your point, I think where we're at right now is, what's the next phase of that? Like what is now at this point? And maybe it's a reimagining. Maybe it's, as Jim Riley basically said, maybe it is basically teaching people or sharing with people. I don't like the idea of teaching, but sharing with people and collaborating with people to give them the confidence or the platform, or
to see value,
the shorter path to get to where they are able to broadcast their message, to amplify their positive impact in their own fields. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a behind the scenes role. Maybe it's a occasional pop your head out, because yes, I mean, I don't want to squander, not for my own benefit, but I don't want to squander the platform that we have all built here to basically.
It's a brand now in Orange County. It really is. I run into people. I have people I know. Then they say, "Do you do that show?" And I say, "Yeah." And I say, "That's the coolest show." And I said, "What's it about?" And they say, "I don't know, but I love listening to it."
So let me ask you this: have you thought about so what you're saying? Have you thought about like something like the Rad Life, continuing the conversation? So like something like continuing the conversation, and then spotlighting either business owners with specific views on different topics or something like that, where then you have your spotlight people, like you were talking about co-hosting or something. Maybe there's a spotlight host every single time, and that they lead the conversation. So they're the conversation starter. They kind of mark the time of what the
Right.
topic's going to be and everything for that particular.
So Rod brings the audience and the community, and then they bring the conference. Because I know it becomes a burden too to produce a show every week. I got to come up with a topic.
Honestly,
What are we going to talk about? Yeah,
we've talked about it being a burden and it's a hard work and all this stuff. But if I was to be really honest, it has been more of a joy than a burden. And it has had a few weeks where we've had people cancel and stuff like that. But all in all, and this is part of that sort of maybe that experience that you share. You can set yourself up to have it be a very arduous, heavy lift, or you can set it up where it's actually very manageable, very looking forward to. And it actually means doing less rather than basically doing more. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody the other day and they're like, well, so what do I need to do to prepare and do this and do that? And I was like, you need to pick a date that you're going to basically get on and start doing, because it's like riding a bicycle. You can read about riding a bicycle all day long, but until you get on the bicycle and start riding the bicycle, all the reading that you did doesn't mean crap.
and the commitment to carry it out, don't you think, Jose? Because that's too many shows come and go, too many topics come and go, too many politicians come and go. He was committed to the long run. I'm going to carry this, to Diana's point, I'm going to carry this conversation on week after week and see where it grows and everything. I was always, I'll tell you what I'll miss the most, and maybe we'll end around here, is that one, in the beginning, it was therapy for me. I was losing my parents and my.
I was paying him to give for him to have.
And
therapy.
I'm acting this out. It's like I'm sitting in a therapist couch as we're talking about aging and not being prepared for your parents to die and not being prepared to get older and all this other stuff. I was living this in real life, so he allowed me to. It was like my therapy to talk this stuff through and to talk with others who were going through this stuff. And then along the way, I saw other similarities we shared, and then I started to get the curiosity. Who's he going to come in with today? Where are we going to go with today? And I was most curious because he would start by talking about, we're going to have Jose Moreno on, blah, 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 blah. We're going to have Carlos Guzman come on and talk about this. And I'm like, where is this leading? What are we getting to? And then somehow away, about halfway through the show, I'd get, oh, now I see the connection. Now I see how we're going to pull this all together into some, other than just a curious conversation here. He was always amazing. It was a journey. It was an exploration, and I don't think we allow ourselves times for journeys or explorations.
It's not about the destination,
anymore.
and everybody who's in front of me right now knows this. It's not about the destination. Yeah. It's about the journey. If you
want to see the journey here, come to my office and you will see a masterpiece live that is being developed on a daily basis.
Yeah, right.
You know the joy that I get walking into Carlos's office, and after 6 years of doing this or 7 years of doing this, and seeing him actually be so in his own space and still so enjoying it, and it's just such a custom for him. I tell people all the time, if I do my job right, you don't see my fingerprints on it.
Right.
No, because he destroyed the paper where he drew.
Well,
probably you don't see this portion of Raad when
he pulls it out of the trash can. I'll throw it in the trash can. He'll put it.
I didn't see the fingerprints of him doing the interviews. It was seamless. He brought a community people. I'm amazed at the people who've reached out and responded today here. I thank you all, and I hope you will encourage him to find a way to make it fresh and to keep the conversation going, because we need it.
Jose, you were going to say something, and Diana, I don't want to cut you guys off.
Rod, you put together a beautiful burrito. Of eclectic ingredients in this thing, and you wrap it around this tortilla called Orange County. I'll just say, I'm going to make the plug. I mean, Orange County is bigger than Delaware, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire combined. Yet we pay more attention in our national politics to that space in Orange County.
Yeah.
So we need a show like this and a space like this in Orange County, because we are at a crossroads in the county. We're at a huge crossroads. We're not the OC that people think about. Right. And we have such an eclectic set of spaces, economically, racially, culturally, and small business, larger businesses. So I just hope that you will continue to cook this burrito up, because we need it. We really need it.
We're hungry for it. We are hungry for it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Diana?
Yeah, I would say the same thing too on that note of that kind of conversation. The fact that if you can provide the platform where there can be honest communication and conversation, It's not standing in your power and trying to convince somebody in the
Yes.
one way or the other, but it's actually having the conversation. Because unless you're having the conversation, you're both on either sides, you're both in your corners, right? And nobody wins the fight, right? Nobody wins because we're both standing on opposite sides. So how can we initiate that kind of conversation in a safe space where people are actually being heard? We don't have to agree with them, but that everybody gets to voice and get heard. And then that's when collaboration happens. That's when people start to go, oh, I see why you're thinking like that. Or they start to understand one another. And I think that's where we're at in our country right now, is people are not taking the time to understand. Everybody's in their corner. And unfortunately, nobody's winning the battle.
Taking the time. Taking the time. Carlos.
Carlito?
My friend, the good thing, I want to see you all the time here.
I'm going to see you in a little bit, actually, this afternoon. Yes. So, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I love you all. It means a lot to me that you guys jumped on and stuck around until the end of the show. I will look forward to seeing you guys all as soon as possible. Please put it on your calendar if you don't have it. 2nd of June.
Yeah, come out and celebrate. Have a drink with us.
We may have a small turnout, but we will still raise a glass and have a little food, even if it's on the side patio of the Center Club. Try to make it, and I'll send another email out. But I'm hoping for a good turnout. If we do, then we'll have one of the rooms. Diana knows, like one of the back rooms. But if not, we'll still get together.
And if it works, we'll turn it into a raclette party, whatever the heck that is, and we'll all dip fondue and other things. We'll have fond memories with fondue.
You're so
You're
Midwest.
really stuck on that fondue thing.
It's such a bizarre concept.
It's not fondue. It's raclette. It's a totally different
same thing. It's gooey, chewy stuff.
You know what, Paul? You were the poster child for baby boomers from the day one show.
That's right.
You know. And just like Johnny and what's the guy's name? Ed, right?
Ed McMahon.
Yes.
Another
People
good
would
Irish
always
man.
tell me, you gotta go. Would always tell, I love you too. People would always tell me, well, why you got Paul?
Why do you keep this guy around?
Eating up all this time. Well, you can't stop Paul. Like, why is he always talking? And I'm like, you know what? It's part of the experience.
Well, I'll miss it. It's my therapy session. It's Orange County's therapy session. Thank you so much.
Paul. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope that we will see you soon. Jose, you are the one person who's been on the show the most.
And he stuck to the end. He's here at
the
the last
person
right
at the end of the party.
That's
so,
right.
my friend, I appreciate you. I love you. You guys have a great graduation. I know you guys are going through graduation right now at Long Beach. So,
yes, sir.
Moreno, love you, my friend.
Love you too, brother. I'm the guest that won't leave.
Well, you know what? You'll be the first guest host. How's that?
Ooh, love it.
Take out the vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being with us for
care.
the last 6 years. We will see you soon. Somehow, somewhere. We'll let you know when.
You have been listening to the Raad Life radio show with your host and age explorer, Rad Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.